Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World for the breakfast show. It is back. Everybody loves the breakfast show. Nice and early to react to the fixtures which have just dropped, which is very, very interesting. We're going to talk a bit about the new kit as well, and then just a general Cardiff City morning show. And you still get the flower hour tonight as well. What a blessed community you are. But as has almost become tradition, I am joined by one half of the flower hour. It is none other than Mr. Superstar Matthew Angel. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, good morning. Happy hump day.
Is that it? Is that what the kids are saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, there we go.
But yeah, happy days. Halfway through the week, and we nearly the weekend again.
Nearly the weekend again, my friend. So the fixtures have just dropped, mate, and
just
trying to bring them up now. But you were just saying that the first couple are pretty insane for the old Bluebirds.
Yeah, Sunderland at home first on the 10th of August, followed by Burnley away, Swansea City away, and Middlesbrough at home. So
Swansea early doors, mate. Could be bad, that could be good. I don't know which way to feel about that, you know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. But again, going back to the Championship fixtures, and you look at you look at all of the fixtures, and there's no easy games. There's no games that you think we guaranteed 3 points there. So it's going to be another difficult season, and I just hope we start like we did last year. Really, I know we struggled a little bit, but we started off pretty well last year, didn't we? So let's hopefully we can do the same again this year.
Yeah, and I think, look, there was obvious issues post Christmas with certain aspects of the tactics, the way the team was playing. I also think the manager felt like he was playing for his job, so that there was that aspect to it as well, where he felt like maybe he couldn't change things too drastically or whatever. Yeah. He's obviously
injuries as well.
Yeah, and I think now that he's signed up, I would like to think that he's going to get at least some of the players he wants, and then hopefully he will hit the ground running again like he did at the start of last year, as you say, and maybe we give a better account of ourselves against the likes of Swansea. Obviously, the first game last year was very good, very, very good. In fact, one of the better performances from a Cardiff City side in the South Wales derby ever, I thought, because I think if you remember, I said in that game at the Cardiff City Stadium versus the Jacks, there was no point where I was like on the edge of my seat or stressed or nervous or thought they were going to come back and pinch it, other than the general feeling that Cardiff are going to fuck it up at some point. Like, that's just the general historic feeling. But like, in terms of how the game went, I was very comfortable. I thought we controlled the game throughout, and scored good goals at good times. And if you remember last year where we opened up against Leeds and everyone was a bit like, oh, that's a very tough game, Leeds away. And we were a bit unlucky in the end to not win it. I think it was 2-2, wasn't it? Was it? If my memory serves. First game of the season.
Yeah, it was, yeah. 2-0.
I mean, Swansea away is a thorn in our sides, isn't it? That's the problem. Is we never seem to be able to perform as a team in that fixture. So maybe getting it early doors helps the side out a bit more, if you get what I mean. Like, because there will be pressure, but it will be a bit less pressure than what there will be if we play them in December, November, and we're neck and neck in the league and this, that, and the other. Early doors, you can kind of not worry too much about the league table and just focus on the games one at a time.
Yeah.
It's like you said, though, mate, there is no easy games, in this league anyway. I mean, I looking at that game at the start of September versus Derby County, mate. The Ebo Adams derby, that'll be, if things go as they look like they will. That they'll be desperate to pick up some early points. So there isn't an easy game. Sunderland, someone was just saying, is an early kickoff as well, the first game, because it's
12:30.
just on TV that when they haven't got a manager at the moment, Sunderland, I don't think, have they? So
I'm not too sure. Not too sure.
the problem is, mate, for us is we need to. I know you've done a show the other Friday on the shopping list and stuff, but the fact is, Cardiff need to get some players in that he wants to play the way he wants to
doors
play.
as well.
Mate, I just one summer I'd like to get our transfer business done, like nice and early, so that we can just focus on getting ready tactically and fitness wise, and not be come deadline day. Is Kiefer Moore going to sign? I'm very, very over that sort of scenario, but not just Kiefer Moore, with players generally. It'd be nice if we went into deadline day and was just a bit like, look, if we can get one more, be all right. But if the right player comes up, but if we don't, we're done, and we've got to play. He's happy with the players he's brought in, and we can really start to push on. That would be the aim, because I think if we can get in the Championship, so often a good start is vital. Like, let's be honest, our good start last year was the reason we never really got into the relegation conversation. If we had started a bit more stop-starty, we'd have been down there when we had that bad run. So I think a good start is vital.
Yeah, 100%. But at least I'm glad we got a home game to start off with. I'd be more confident at playing Sunderland at home than travelling up there. I think we did win up there last year, mind, if memory serves me right. But I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure
it's a long old trip, isn't it? It's a long old trip.
Especially for an early kickoff as well. Them Sunderland fans will be setting off a bit early. Is a bit, but it'll be interesting to see now, because obviously it's been quite well broadcasted that obviously there's a lot of fixtures going to be played over Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays this year because of TV coverage. Obviously, the fixtures that have come out now were predominantly the Saturday and the midweek games, so no doubt some of those will change. So it'll be interesting to see as and when they do change, and which ones are moved to Fridays and which ones are moved to Sundays.
The other aspect of it, mate, which I just was kind of thinking about, is obviously me and you have talked about the attendance a couple of times, like it not being really what we'd expect, what we want, etc. And if we get off to a good start, particularly because those opening sort of 4 games, they're big games, aren't they? Like, so if we do get off to a good start, the crowds will keep growing. Because we're going to start off. You'd like to think the Sunderland will be a big, first game of the season. You'd expect a decent crowd there. They'll bring thousands. You'd like to think Cardiff fans will turn up for the first game against Sunderland. Managers signed up, etc. So then it becomes, if you can get a bit of momentum on the pitch, I feel like you might get a bit of momentum in the stands as well. Because, just for a hindsight, if you were to win that first home game and then get some points away at Burnley and Swansea, obviously 2 very tough games, you can go into that Borough game with a little bit of confidence and momentum, and the crowds. We've got some massive games early doors, mate. Like even going into September, if you just look at the home games, first 4 home games: Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Leeds, and Millwall. That's like probably 4 of the bigger games all season, like in terms of rivalries and history and things like that. Like there's some, and they all bring fans with them as well, those clubs. So I'm fascinated by them, mate. I am. I got to be honest. Like part of me was like, oh Jesus, that's going to be a bit of a tasty start. But then the other part of me is a bit like, well, do you know what? That can work in our favour if we've got our business done, if the managers and his coaching staff are prepared. Obviously, they brought in a new assistant manager, mate, yesterday.
Is that the attacking
assistant manager, first team coach? Sorry,
Yeah. So he's like more of an attacking coach, isn't he? I think.
He used to play up front himself, and Omar, I can't remember his surname for the life of me. That's a bit annoying, but. very attacking coach, very, very highly regarded. He's worked in the system with England under 17s, I think it is, and some of the younger age groups. Obviously been at Watford more recently. Played his own football in Turkey, and I just believe that it's a good step. Like, I think that shows that he's acknowledging that there was, a bit of an issue maybe with the way they played at home, or the way they were going about their business at home, needing to be a bit more aggressive maybe in the attacking areas. And that's a good sign for me, because I think that's he's kind of looking to do something about it. He's not just going, oh yeah, we're going to change it, but with the same people. Because if you do the same thing over and over again, you don't get different results, do you? So I do feel a bit sorry for the guy who's left. It feels a bit like he's been blamed, but I mean, you don't know, do you? Maybe he was gone, he's going to go somewhere else or whatnot. But certainly, it feels a little bit like he's the scapegoat, if you like, for the style of play. But I mean, look, the manager likes to play a certain way. That's clear. Like, I don't think you can deny that. He likes to be solid. He likes to be, play out from the back and stuff. But it's doing it in a way that enables us to play a certain way at home.
Yeah.
And, we did that though at the start of the season last year. So
yeah, until we kind of got found out a bit, and everything was a bit just too predictable then for me, I think. And yeah, it's just them, like you said, getting them early signings in now, 3 or 4 signings in key positions, and hopefully then we'll be, equipped with the players that we need really to play the type of football that we should be playing at home.
Yeah, and also, mate, the other thing, Philly just made a good point. He said he'd much rather get those games out of the way early. But also, mate, with that, on top of that, is if you can win your first couple of home games, like, you can start building your home ground as a fortress really quickly. It only takes winning the first couple of games at home before that belief comes back, in terms of, like, teams won't want to come here. Like, if we win, or we win more than we lose in the first 10 games, home games, teams won't want to come down here.
No.
It's just, we made it a bit too easy for teams last year, in terms of we just let them settle. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. I'm not even so much like got to be all out attack. I just want to see us be a bit more aggressive in how we let teams settle. Like, too often last year, we just let teams settle. One of the things Roger Gibbons said when I interviewed him was that at Ninian Park, I know, and I'm not saying at Ninian Park versus Cardiff City Stadium, but just when he was playing, they never used to let teams settle, and teams would just try and get through the first 15, 20 minutes by the skin of their teeth, and then think about playing. And we need to make the home ground exactly that teams struggle. So just a couple of little things, mate, I wanted to run by you. Obviously, we had the new kit last night, or yesterday, the home kit and the training tops. What was your first thought when you saw it?
If I'm completely honest, my first thought was I wasn't keen on the collar. It looks quite tight around the neck. I quite like the design of it. I would have liked to have seen a bit of yellow in it, perhaps. Other than that, I quite like it, to be fair. I like the new badge, but obviously it's the old original badge. I think that's a nice touch. But other than that, it's nothing to shout and scream about. Really, like I said, I would have expected something. If it was just any other old season, perhaps I'd feel a bit different. But with it being a special 125-year anniversary type of thing, I think it could have been something a bit more special. Can you remember the old Man United top when they had like the stadium like in the background of the jersey?
Yeah, like a background of it, like faded in the background.
Yeah, something like that with things historic to the club embedded into the shirt or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I was expecting something a bit more of a kind of like a mix of different aspects, not necessarily different kits, but different aspects of the club. So I half expected that we'd have like a pattern going across it in the background. So like you said, not the stadium necessarily, but like players' names from years ago and managers and things like that, but like faded into the, like, so you say it's like a royal blue or whatever, like a navy blue or a slightly different color blue with just names all across the shirt in the background. And I'd be lying if I said, look, I felt that this was the perfect opportunity to bring back this sort of the badge, which we never should have got rid of. And I felt like they could sort of slip it in without, too much fuss. And I was always a little bit disappointed about that badge. But I love that badge. Obviously it's the traditional, it's the same badge I use for Cardiff City World. I do love that just simple bluebird. More of a disappointment for me was that the lack of yellow and white. I thought there would be a yellow and white stripe on it or something. But if, like you just said, mate, right? If there wasn't the 125th year and we weren't all expecting like some beautiful retro kit, then we'd look at that kit and it'd be like, fucking, that's a great kit. Like, that's one of the better kits we've had over the years.
Yeah.
But because it's the 125th anniversary, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit disappointed, mate, because, as you've seen for instance, my podcast tracksuit, which is the yellow one with the white and blue stripe with that badge and the podcast logo on.
Yeah, I see Thorny put out a couple of images yesterday, didn't he, on his social media? And some of them on it would have looked really smart. Fair play to him. And I've got a couple of them jackets off him as well. So,
but the thing is, mate, right, is that what he was saying, like, obviously he's promoting his stuff, and fair play to him because his stuff is beautiful and it's top quality. But what he was saying kind of, I felt like it was right. Like, it felt like they missed an opportunity a little bit. However, we should hold fire. And I'm not being critical overly because I like the badge and I think if we could keep that badge, I'd be happy, But also maybe it was a bit of a missed opportunity to do certain things with the training tops, the training kits, whatever. You could have done something where you had like a bit of a mixture. Like, you could have based the home kit, the training kit, the tracksuit tops, the away top, the third top, all on different kits from over the years. Really, there's so many things they could have done, and maybe it feels like a little bit of a letdown. Like, maybe they haven't put as much thought into it as I felt they could have. But look, it's only my opinion. I know.
What's the color scheme behind the training kit? I'm not getting that at all. It's as if they've, like last year's burgundy or whatever purple kit whatever color you want to call it, and then we had a grey one the year before, was it, or 2 years before? It's kind of like they've cut them both in half and just put that together. I just don't get it. Why they're that colors?
Bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Our away kit this year is going to be interesting to see what they come up with.
Well, someone did mention to me yesterday, not someone who would know or anything like that by any means, but someone did mention to me that, like, you might see something different with the away kit, maybe a bit more in line with what people were, like, thinking. Maybe I think, if they were to bring out, like, let's say the away kits, like a yellow, like based on that my tracksuit is, like the yellow with a white and blue stripe with that badge, I think people will be loving that, mate. I really do think people would love that. But then there would also be the question: is like, if you're doing it for the away kit, why aren't you doing it from the home kit? And someone made a great point yesterday. I forget who it is, so I apologize. I can't. It was someone on comments on something, one of my posts or one of my shows or something. And they said, everyone's got like a blue kit. Like, there's loads of blue kits around, and having a white and yellow stripe on our kit would make us stand out massively. Like, we've got Preston. There's a lot of blue teams which play in like just a blue top, and it, like, that stripe could have really make you stand out a little bit. But look, they've obviously done it for a reason. Little Philly saying have a little Robin Friday shirt faded into the background. Have a bit of that. Just Robin Friday. And on Robin Friday, if you haven't checked it out already, we dropped a new episode of the History of Cardiff City last night with Terry Phillips, who is the official Cardiff City historian. He's doing that little series for us where he looks at different aspects of the club's history. And he did it on Robin Friday this week, and it was enjoyable, man. What a
mad little story about him get him sent off against the tackle against Lawrence, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate. And then supposedly he defecated in his bag on his way out, and like it's almost quite sad, mate, how his career went, and obviously, passed away very early. But sometimes these types of characters, they burn bright and burn out, unfortunately. Like, no one was really able, if someone would have been able to get hold of him and really get him focused on his football, he was a hell of a player, like in terms of his quality. He would have played at the top level, but he was like, do you know what I was thinking when I was editing the Terry Phillips thing was Robin Friday reminds me of like George Best, but without getting to the top level sort of thing. He was living that life like Best was when he was playing, but in the third division sort of thing. Yeah, it's one of them, mate. Like, I'm really enjoying that series, I gotta say. Really, really enjoying that series. Just obviously different to some of the other stuff which we're doing. Terry is full of knowledge. And we've also got some additional things coming. We filmed an interesting show on Friday night as well, which is going to be coming out soon. It's going to take me a bit of time to edit that one, but it's a lot of fun and it's something different. Something different.
And hopefully we can have obviously, without giving too much away, we can have a spin-off on a variety of other different things as well, and similar to what we done Friday. And I think that's the plan, is it? Yeah,
I think so. I think I've been looking for something for the Ace Podcast Nation members, obviously, because they're the ones who are, financially supporting everything and the channel and keeping it going and everything. So I think we're going to try and do one like every 6 weeks or whatever, different one, get different people involved and stuff. So it'll be good, mate. Jonathan says, I thought Bullet wanted to add coaches to his coaching team from what I saw at the end of the season. So I was surprised to see one in, one out. Yeah, that's right. I kind of alluded to that earlier. Like, it felt a bit like that guy was made out to be the scapegoat a little bit, because everything which had been kind of reported and where we spoke to Paul Abandonado the other day, like, it was more, he wanted to add some championship quality coaches into his system to help with the way they play. Because I know they had a meeting with the manager towards the end of last season, or certainly after Christmas, where they told him straight, like, the home form's or the way we're playing at home has to change. Obviously, I don't think we saw too much of a change really at home. Maybe a little bit when some of the younger players come in, but I think we have to see a change now. Like, they have to address that, because if we're like 10 games in next year and we're doing all right, but they're playing football like they were at home all season last year, or post Christmas, definitely, a lot of fans will get frustrated, because and you saw that towards the end of the season, there was a certain amount of people who got frustrated with it, and you saw it with the crowds dipping. And I think winning is first and foremost. If we can get some early wins on the board, I think that removes a lot of issues. I said this before, didn't I, mate? That like, ultimately you can get away with playing football, which isn't great to watch, if you're winning.
Yeah,
it's just a fact. Like if you're winning football matches, people really will get past the football's a bit dire or whatever. But if you're playing dire football and you're not winning, that's when you have a problem. And it's pretty simple. Like, there's not a great deal that you can kind of do or say with regards to that otherwise. So you've got to get one of the two right. Like, there's no wiggle room for me with that. I think that's a big issue that has to be addressed immediately from the first game, almost, because that was a fair criticism. And that was another thing which we obviously talked about a lot throughout the season was, I've been bullet in all the way, but that doesn't mean that he's devoid of criticism. That doesn't mean that, he can, everything he does is right, or everything he does or whatever is, you can't sort of have a look at it, shall we say. But the home performances have to change. The away performances, mate, like, what do you make of them? Because I think the way we set up away from home to hit on a counter attack, etc., like, I think that's the best way to be in the Championship, to get the most points throughout the season.
It's a weird one, right? Because there was a show that we done towards the end of the season where I think it was, I'm not sure if it was me and yourself or it was me and Rob, but we kind of compared our away performances to our home performances, and the stats really didn't back up kind of what actually happened. Because although we seem to play better away, we seem to score more goals and get more points at home than we did away in the end. So it kind of baffled me a bit, that did.
I think it was based on an early season, wasn't it? Like early season, we were winning away games fairly regularly when we were picking up those points. Like.
But I don't know whether when the way he sets up when he goes away, there's less pressure, perhaps. You're going out and playing a different type of football, perhaps. I don't know, but I just think hopefully now he's learned from his mistakes last year. Like you said, he's not free from criticism, and we're not slating him. It's just constructive feedback, which we're entitled to because we're paying fans and supporters of the club. It's just hopefully he can take on board now with this attacking coach coming in as well. Like I said, one or two players staying fit, and one or two players coming into the squad to make it even stronger. I think we'll do well. Fingers crossed we do well anyway, but you never know, do you? You never know.
No, I think like Ramsey obviously is going to have a full pre-season. I was reading, I can't remember if I was reading it or if I heard it somewhere, that this will be the first time he's had like a full pre-season in God knows how many years, because he's always been either involved in international tournaments that obviously later were Wales, or he's been, going on like these tours or doing media, or like he's never had, or he's been injured or whatever. Like he's never had like or certainly in recent years, very long time, where he's had an out and out full pre-season with his team, where he can, concentrate on match fitness and getting fit, as well as obviously, being as sharp as possible. Because at the end of the day, mate, like if he is as sharp and as fit as he can be, he's far too good for the Championship, even at the age he's at now. And I think you saw glimpses of that as he got fitter at the start of last season, but it never quite like really cooked, did it? It was like you were just getting there when he got injured.
Yeah, I just think he was nursing too many injuries, and I still honestly think if he has another, say, bad injury, then I think that'll probably be, he'll probably knock it on the head. I think, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But and hopefully we can get to see him, more minutes on the pitch, type of thing.
Yeah, I'm led to believe.
He's looking pretty lean, and he's looking really fit in some of the photos and the videos that I've seen so far. So, fingers crossed. It has been well broadcasted that he has worked hard through pre-season and stuff. So, yeah, fingers crossed. He's given himself the best chance possible and to have a successful season. Really. Yeah,
I think like the people, anyone who I've spoken to, obviously have said like how hard he's working. Like pretty much from the season ends to now, like, he's been quite solid work, but also it's like he feels like he's got a bit of unfinished business with Cardiff. And if I'm being honest, mate, the last time I heard someone say that was when like Bellamy come down here, and he sort of indicated, like, obviously having not played for the club because he went elsewhere when he was younger, he felt a bit like that. So maybe we can get that level of performance, and he can make those around him even better.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I just think
he is that good.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And it's just the manager's got to manage him properly, haven't he? You know, he's not going to have to be at the training session at 8 o'clock every blinking morning of the week because, you know, what he's done through his career and what he's learned, you know, he's not going to. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He's not going to. We just need to manage him. There's no point having him at training for the sake of just being there, type of thing. He's getting to the age where he does pick up injuries, so the least we can risk him getting injured, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the way Ruben played last year should help that, because I think certain games you can get them both in. Certain games you can rest Ramsey and start Ruben. Like, you should be able to manage it between the two of them, and then obviously you've got Turnbull as well. So it's going to be interesting, mate. Most importantly, we have to get these transfers done. Like, it's so vital that we get these transfers done so they can integrate into the team. The manager can work with them. Everybody knows what they're doing. We can move some players out who he doesn't want, because I think there's a couple of those. And obviously we'll have to raise a bit of cash rate as well. So just go back to the fixtures, mate, very quickly.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you a question, and obviously for the people in the chat as well. So what would be a good start? So if you look at the first 4 fixtures we got, obviously potential 12 points available in August, then what would you class a good return on that then?
Win your home games, couple of points. Like, I think if you could take
7 or 8 points out of them 12, that's
7 or 8 out of that is a good return. Obviously, everyone wants to win all 4 and start like a house on fire, but this league is just mental, mate. So, like, we could go and beat all 4 and then play Derby in the first game of September and lose 3-0. Like, it's just mental. So it's very, very difficult to predict. In my opinion, win your home games and pick up as many points as you can away from home should be the general consensus and the general plan. But it's not as easy as that, mate, is it? It's not as easy as that. Most importantly, we've got to get these players in and out and support the manager. And I would like to think now that he's signed, and I think the majority wanted him to stay, that I would like to think everyone will get behind him now and get behind the club. You know, it's the 125th year. We finally got a nice badge. You know, even if we are a little bit disappointed about some aspects of the kit, it's got a nice badge, which is more in connection with the club, with the fans. It's baby steps, mate, bringing things together. I had a fascinating conversation yesterday with someone, which I can't really go too much into, but I remember I said a few months back, or I've said it a couple of times and people get a bit frustrated, but I think people would be surprised what Mehmet Dalman would do if Mehmet Dalman was making the decisions. And I've said that a few times because I think he's almost got not no power, but little power in terms of decision making. But he's also the one who's almost like the face of it, who fronts up to the interviews and stuff. And I think he is playing a large part in that badge, in maybe certain things, trying to bring the football club and the fans more in aligned with each other. And I think if you can get that togetherness between the fans and the club, and the fans and the team, and the fans and the manager, I think you can get a bit of momentum then on the pitch because everyone's pulling in the same direction.
Yeah.
And Jonathan just made a great point. Neil Warnock and Malky Mackay was some of the worst football you'd see, but they both got promoted. And I think the fans love both of them. That was probably, those managers were able to make that connection with the fans. So I think Bullett's got that connection with the fans, but that's he does have to do a bit more, certainly at home. But I think he's good. I think he's a good man.
From my point of view, sorry about to jump in, but then
Right.
I think I like Bullet, and I was glad that they offered him another deal. But what would make me more of a fan then was when things are not going right, being able to make that decision where we have to change things up when it's not going right, not wait for it to happen too late and we conceded a goal or we 2-0 down or whatever, is making them decisions early enough so that it can impact the game rather than wait for us to go behind and then it's too late. Like, I think that's what frustrated me a lot last year was things are not working and we're not changing tactics or formations or making substitutes that is going to benefit the team and the right substitutions, really.
Yeah, I agree with you. Particularly the second half of the season, it felt like a couple of times we were like 1-0 down or it was 0-0, and you felt like if he made a change, around the hour or maybe a bit before, we could be the one who goes on and pushes on and wins it. And we kind of ended up getting unstuck, like conceding a goal, and then he would change it, and he would kind of you're fighting back to get a draw then, or get back, back in the game, as opposed to going on and pushing on and winning it. And I think at the start of the season, one of the things which impressed me in the early games was I felt like he was very tactically aware. I felt like he changed a few things up. He used like an inverted fullback now and again. He would use an overlapping fullback. But then as the season went on, I felt like a lot of those little tactical tweaks which he was making in games and week to week, depending on the opponent, they started to become less and less common, and he would just stick out a defensive team, 3 defensive midfielders or whatever, and we'd become very predictable and very easy to play against. Whereas at the start of the season, I felt like we were quite difficult to play against. We pressed, but we were solid. We were possession football, but it was with a purpose. Then by the time the second half of the season came, we started sat in and just let teams come at us until they got to about 30 yards out. We didn't bother pressing them. We let them play through us nice and easy. And we also, like, possession-based football, but it was just sideways, backwards, sideways. Whereas at the start of the season, that wasn't the case. So what I want to see from Bullet now is I want to see him use the tactical ability that he clearly got, because you don't be manager of Fenerbahce if you've got nothing about you. And I think he showed glimpses of it for us last year. And I want to see that. I want to see him, all right, if this is not working or if this is a certain team, we're going to play 3-5-2. We're going to play Ruben off the right in like a Phil Foden role, or whatever it may be, whatever the tweak is that he thinks is going to get the best out of the team. The one tweak I don't want to see is a midfield of Rawls, Wintle and Siopis. That's just, don't give me that midfield. I do think he's got it in him, mate, but I agree with you that he needs to change games if it's not working. And sometimes you got to just hold your hands up and say, all right, today I got it wrong. Everyone makes mistakes, but it's doing it early enough that you can rectify it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you only have to look at the Euros now and look at France and England, and they're struggling, and their particularly in England's case, their managers are not making those changes when they can. They're leaving it a bit late, and then the fans are getting frustrated, and they're kind of, it's an issue. But you've got to be brave, and that was one of the things. If you go way back, mate, to when Jose Mourinho first came to the Premier League, sometimes he'd put a team out, and like 30 minutes into a game, he'd go, "No, this isn't working," and he'd pull someone off like half hour into the first half, and be like, "Let's go. Let's change it. You're coming off, and I've got it wrong." And like that bravery, I think, is obviously you've got to be careful with it, because if you take someone off after half hour and then they're not injured, it can upset the apple cart. But like, just for me, I want to see him use what ability he has tactically, because I think he plays 3-5-2 a lot in other clubs, and I think in some ways we got a team that better suits that formation. Jonathan just asked, do you think Tanner being tested at left back last season was a view to a wing back system? What do you think, Matt, to that?
I think we was forced really last year when we, due to the injuries and things. I think he got caught out a little bit, didn't really look comfortable there. I'm not slating him at all because he done some good things when he had to play there, and he done a job for us, doing it in a position that he's not used to playing. I'd be surprised if, unless he's going to do it all through pre-season type thing, and he's been working on it at the training ground, I'd be surprised for us to see him back there, if I'm honest. But again, you never know.
I don't think he'd play as an out-and-out left back. I think if we played like a 3-5-2, I could see Tanner and O'Dowd there as both good options as wing backs on the left. I could see Perry NG moving into the 3 then, if he stays, and then on the right hand side you could have Conte. You could have, there's a couple of different options you could have on the right. It'd be interesting, mate, because it depends if I mean, like I was just saying, what I was saying just then about bringing someone off after half hour, and it's a delicate process, isn't it? Because it's the manager saying I got it wrong, but it's also quite humiliating for the player. And Jonathan just said, imagine Robinson coming off after 30 minutes, and his reaction would be incredible. Paul got a question there, mate. He says, we the fans have seen what teams get promoted, goals and good defending, fighters and tough to beat. Can Bullet make that happen for Cardiff City?
We, the fans, have seen what teams can goals and good defending. I think he can. I think the players play for him. Just we need a goal scorer, don't we?
I think that's the one thing we're lacking, isn't it? Because we're already tough to beat, and generally speaking, we've just got a a good basis.
What was your thoughts on Liverpool's price tag for Nat Phillips?
Oh, mate, fucking absolute joke that is, mate. Absolute joke.
8 million.
Unrealistic, isn't it? Unless they've got Premier League clubs interested, and that's why. If they're quoting that to Championship clubs, it's ridiculous, and it's unfair on the player, mate, as well. So, obviously, if there's a couple of Premier League clubs knocking about him, which there might be, then I don't know. It's tricky, isn't it? Because he is good, but £8 million for someone who's not a first team player is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. But I feel sorry for him if they're not willing to let him go out on loan, and that's the price that they're quoting everyone, because I'm not sure who will pay it. Maybe a Leicester or one of the teams which went up, Southampton. Maybe they'll play it because they got a bit of money. But I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot for someone who hasn't really done it at the Premier League level. But then I suppose his age and I mean, he's how old is he now? He's not that young, is he? He's not 21, 22, is he? He's a bit older than that.
I'm going to say 28. I think there's 2 teams that have shown interest. It was Ipswich and the German side called
27. Yeah, see, it's a lot, mate, isn't it? For someone who's never really done it in the Premier League. He made 17 appearances for Bournemouth on loan. But obviously, if he had done that good, he would have played more, and they would have wanted to keep him. He made 19 appearances for Liverpool way back when he was a youngster. And then he's been on loan to Stuttgart, Bournemouth, Celtic and Cardiff. And it's a lot of money for someone who hasn't been proven at Premier League level. And it's not, if he was 21, 22, I would say, all right, he's shown enough in Scotland, enough in the Championship level, where you could say, right, you know what, I'll take a punt. It's 8 million, that's a lot, but we could get a good 5-6 years out of him as he progresses into a top player. But at 27, I think is brutal, mate. But that's why I said the club should have sounded out Kipre right at the start of the window to see what he was doing.
Yeah. Still
he was
haven't
on a
heard
free.
anything really. I've seen
Has he-
about Philogene has been linked with a move to Barcelona.
Barca. Oh, mate, do you know what? It's madness, mate. On his day, mate, Philogene is unreal. Like the skills and the ability he's got. But in terms of consistency and stuff like that, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've obviously haven't watched him as much more recently. Maybe he's come on a bit, but I always felt like his consistency wasn't quite there. Like, but he was young. He was young. Like ability wise, he's unreal. I just having a look. It seems like Kipre is out of contract, mate.
Yeah, he is out of contract. I think they've offered him a new
I'm
one.
just trying to see now if he was like, if there was anything about. Yeah, and they've already looking to get a replacement, and they're trying to get that Barnard from Sheffield Wednesday in. So they obviously think he's on his Todd like. So, mate, he's the one I'd be asking.
Yeah,
for
100%.
And yeah, I was just going to say, Jonathan, what's the one that Jonathan did? Michael Heelick was the one. Michelle Heelick, sorry, or Mikhail, whatever, however you pronounce it. Was a good shout, but like Kipre's on a free, unreal, mate. Kipre is. If you gave me the choice of Kipre or Phillips, I would take Kipre anyway. So Paul says 8 million bollocks, 4 million yes, but then straight underneath that, Jonathan says I wouldn't pay 4 million for him, and I don't know if I'd pay 4 million for him, mate. I don't know because we haven't got that money.
Yeah, exactly. If money wasn't an object, then you probably would. But realistically, then, if you're thinking you're spending 4 million on a player there, where there's options that we could get someone in on a free, and we could use that money then to strengthen other areas that we need strengthening, then it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Well, mate, if we've got 4 million to spend on one player, I would rather offer Birmingham 4 million plus Ryan Wintle for Jordan James. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a game-changing player for us in a position that we desperately need a change in. So if we had that money, I'm not saying we have got that money, by the way. I'm just saying if we had enough money to spend that much on one individual player, then that's what I'd be looking to do. Looks like Heelick at Huddersfield they've got an option on him, and his contract expires next year, June 25. So he might be a decent price. And he scored 9 goals as a centre-back last year, which is not bad considering they got relegated. But then also, I think it was Paul said, whenever we've got promoted, we've had goals from all over the park. And I think that's why it's vital that we get an out-and-out winger and an out-and-out striker. So, like, that's why I said about getting that lad from Peterborough, or one of 2 lads from Peterborough, but particularly that Poku from Peterborough. And the show I did on Sunday, I talked about some lower league players who would have a punt on. That Poku is like an out-and-out winger, skillful, fast, puts the ball in the box, gets lots of assists. He's young. Like, he is the type of the profile of player that I think we need in the wide areas. I don't want to see these inverted wingers cutting in to try and shoot. The only person I would be all right with doing that would be if we play Colwell in that sort of Phil Foden role, which then allowed Ramsey to do a bit of drifting and they link up that way. Other than that, I want to see out-and-out wingers who beat their man and put the ball in the box to a striker. But it's whether the manager feels the same way, mate. Because he seems to like those inverted wingers. I just felt like having no striker and inverted wingers congested the areas that Colwell wanted to use. And he didn't have a striker to play off when he got in good positions or created something.
Yeah, agreed.
It's tricky, mate. It's interesting, but so tonight, mate, you've got the Flower Hour quiz.
Yeah, quiz night on a Wednesday.
The quiz night on a Wednesday. I'm just about to send you the thumbnail for that.
Awesome.
And then what we got coming up? We got this this thing coming out. We're gonna have the Willie Boland City Legends Part 1 coming soon as well. Maybe even tomorrow night if I have time to edit it. But so Willie Boland City Legends Night Part 1 be dropping soon. We got the thing we recorded on Friday. We got the Friday Night Lights with me and Pan on Friday night. Saturday we got a flower hour. Sunday we got a breakdown, some scout reports, some this, that, and the others. Lots and lots of content, 7 days a week. Please do spread the word. If you haven't got your tickets for Joe Ledley, get them and get them quick. There's a couple which have gone back on resale because the people couldn't make it, but it is like a couple now, like single figures, single figures. Like I think there's like 5 or something. So get them. Details below. It's going to be an absolute belter. Another classic night, and there'll probably be some prizes and some bits and pieces, and yeah, lots and lots of fun. It's going to be a good one. Matthew, thank you very much for joining me for the breakfast show, my friend. I know you're not feeling the best, so I appreciate it.
No problems.
And you'll be back later, of course. I'm really hot now.
Yeah, it's a bit warm out there. I'm quite lucky I am. The house where I am is all nice and cool in the shade, so I won't be moving far from you today.
No, struggled last night. It was so hot. But there we go. Such is life. Can't complain when it's cold.
We'd be whinging if it was. We'd be whinging as well if it was piddling down out there, wouldn't we? We can't win, can we?
No, that's it, mate. That's it. Right, guys. Appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to Cardiff City World. Click the bell for notifications so you never miss a thing. Check out the history of Cardiff City with Terry Phillips. We'll be back soon in a bit.